Gonna see how it goes. So let's see. I have aha. Right, it's working. It's working. I've done nothing. I didn't change anything. So I assume that it's working now. Hello and welcome to our Duelist adventures and indeed the kingdom of the Duelist. I was actually extremely happy to create our own faction. Unfortunately, I have now had some troubling news for you. This is starting off the new year very, very well, isn't it? Yes, happy new year to those of you that, well, those that care, I guess. Anyway, point is, it's a new year and I am having issues with my game. So, okay. To sum it up, I was attempting to find the issue with the siege crashes. I wasn't having issues with siege defense crashes ever before in this series. I have had a number of them that have started. We've seen them in, where was it now? I think it was over here at Melion Castle or something like that. I think there was, yeah, one over here that began, or over here potentially. I'm actually not entirely sure which castle it was, but somewhere over in that area. And it was perfectly fine. No crashes whatsoever. But there was a hotfix that the developers of Bannerlord pushed out the other day. I believe it was yesterday, maybe the day before that. And from then on, I have, for some reason, now started to experience siege defense crashes. And I have been attempting to diagnose the problem. Alright, so here's the thing. I can't defend this. That's the bottom line. There is nothing I can do about it. And I'm not even talking about the fact that, you know, I just can't do it. Like, for example, if I were to break in here, it would probably crash immediately. All right, so let me actually just try it out, shall we? Because here's the thing. I have tried removing every single mod, with the exception of the custom spawns and harmony mods, because if I remove custom spawns, which is basically the Calradia at War mod, which adds a whole bunch of troops to the game, then obviously it just crashes immediately before it even gets through to the main menu, because it's obviously with a bunch of, well, it's basically just completely incorporated within my save game, and as a result it is not possible to remove it. It isn't even possible to update that mod because it adds a bunch of new troops and units and so on and so forth. The new versions do, that is. Anyway, so let's just break in, and there you go. That's the crash. There we go. So yeah, I just wanted to try it out this way, because if I was able to potentially make that work, then that would be pretty good, actually. That would be all right. You know, I wouldn't mind so much about that. I wouldn't mind, you know, even if I were to lose half of my units or anything like that, that would not be a big deal. Because if I was able to participate in the siege defense, at least that would be a little bit of fun. Last couple of hours trying to fix this thing. And I went through every single one of my mods. As I say, I removed them, I disabled them, and then I looked for potential updated versions for the current version of the game that I'm playing on, which is 1.5.5, and that is indeed the issue. I have no idea what this hotfix actually did, with the exception, I took a look at the, oh, actually there is a thread here. Wait a minute, I'm taking a look at the thread right now, and apparently there's a thread on the official Tailworlds forum that is detailing a bunch of campaign-related known issues. Okay, so that must mean, aha, there might be some crashes here. Aha, here we go. Right, okay, crashes in bigger battles are being investigated. That's surely not going to be anything to worry about. The game crashes when this is being done. No. No. Crash on loading screen. No, I don't have that either. Medini Castle crashes to desktop. Oh, apparently that's not a good idea. Don't besiege Medini Castle right now. And several UI related crashes, game crashes of selecting an heir, and marrying a daughter can crash the game. Alright, well, that's good to know. Right, so there doesn't seem to be anything that mentions siege defenses here, at least as far as I can tell. So I've taken a look at the siege and battle problems as well, and there doesn't seem to be anything about that either. So that is interesting. I don't know what would be happening here, unfortunately. So that, I think, is probably going to be the end of the series. I don't really want it to be, because I actually love this particular character build that we have right here. And, oh yeah, I should also just let you know, by the way, that I have downloaded a new version of the XP gain watcher mod, and basically what that does is it stops all the spam from scouting and tactics and medicine, and it just shows you the most important experience gains, because of course you're always pretty much going to be gaining scouting skill, and as you can see, it's no longer spamming the text log. So the creator of that mod has obviously given people an alternative if they don't want to see their text log get completely spammed. And that's absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. But unfortunately, as you can see, they've now taken this back. There's nothing I could do, as you could no doubt tell. I tried to defend it multiple times with different mods installed, different mods disabled, all mods disabled, all the ones that I could potentially disable, and apparently it is literally just a case of there being some incompatibility with Harmony, I assume, but I am playing on the latest version of Harmony, so it doesn't really make much sense to me, to be honest, as to why that would happen. But I'm gonna just try something real quick, because I haven't actually played a battle yet, and I'm wondering whether that's going to crash the game. I don't think it will. Oh, seems to be showing my attack direction. Yeah, apparently some weird thing happened with my game when it had crashed once, and it reset all of my settings. So now you can see which direction I'm going to be attacking in. Let me actually just disable that. That's so distracting. Alright, there we go. That's a lot better in my opinion. Okay, so here we go. Oh, we murdered him. Look at that. That was great. That was actually a lot better than I anticipated. Yeah, anyway, a number of mods did actually get updated, but most of them are still the same. As I said before, the XP gain watcher mod has been updated, but that doesn't actually do anything to your overall game. It doesn't actually change anything inherently that would cause crashes. The only thing that it changes is basically stopping the spam with the scouting and all that stuff. That's pretty much it. Anyway, we're going to be telling our people just to charge straight on in here. I feel like this is more of a farewell episode to this series, which I am extremely disappointed by. I feel like it always happens where this kind of thing just goes on. I don't know why, really, because that's the thing. That's the reason why I thought to myself, okay, you know what? I'm going to choose a beta version of the game so that I can potentially just keep it at that particular version, because in general, that's what I do. I select a version from the drop-down menu in the properties screen of the game inside Steam, so that it is consistently that version. And I did not expect that version to be updated with anything significant. So significant, that is, that it would interfere with the minimal amounts of mods that I have installed. I literally have nothing that really dramatically changes the game, with the exception of the custom spawns. And I can only assume that that has something to do with what is happening. But unfortunately, as I've said before, I am unable to uninstall that or disable it, because I am currently using a number of units that come from that mod. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, well, why don't you just disband those units? Well, I could quite easily do that. However, there are a number of units elsewhere in the game that would also make that interfere with my save game. So it would basically be a case of, well, you've recruited these people, well, too bad, now you're just going to have to deal with it. So that's the thing that is going on here, and unfortunately I won't be able to do anything about it. So I guess the only thing we can do is just try to have a good time in the last episode here, because if I can't do siege defenses and I can only do siege attacks, then there's not really much point, is there? Because that was the whole reason why I actually took something right down here, because I felt like Cassira would actually be an extremely good fief to defend, because it has pretty decent walls. It's got 64,000 HP in terms of its walls, and look, I can besiege this no problem at all. This is not an issue whatsoever. And they, I believe, even have a couple of units in there that are unique as well. And that makes me think that maybe that army would crash the game. You know what? I actually don't think that's the case, because I remember that another different army actually did decide to try and do a siege attack against us as well, and that also caused a crash. So I can only assume that maybe one particular vassal has, shall we say, rescued or recruited a unit that causes a crash within the game. Now, I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, I cannot tell that, but I have no idea which one that is. I can only assume that that is the mod that is causing problems, which is a bit strange, really, because I wouldn't have expected that to happen, because my experience with the Karelia War mod so far has been absolutely flawless. No problems whatsoever with it, and I've had no crashes due to it whatsoever. So going into any battle, it's been absolutely fine, and I don't see why it would start to mess up now. And that's the reason why I suppose the hotfix has caused some kind of weird disparity, I suppose you could call it. But yeah, otherwise it seems like no one is wanting to fight us here, which is actually kind of weird. I don't know why no one is coming over here. That is real strange, but I guess we'll try it. I mean, I could just go for an automatic attack here, but I'm just gonna go in manually and we'll see what happens. I was able to build both siege towers, weirdly enough, both siege towers and the battering ram. So this is really, really weird. I think, actually, you know what? It does say on the Tailworlds forum, it does say that the game has a possibility to crash in bigger battles. And I would assume, I mean, obviously, you know, it's under a lot of stress at that point. You know, there's a lot of movement, a lot of enemies moving around and calculating things and so on and so forth. So generally that could be the reason, because we're doing such a large battle. But we've done large battles before, haven't we? We've done battles of about 1,000 units total. My battle size is not that large, by the way. I know a couple of people have asked me what my current settings are, because I'm not really having too many issues with performance or anything like that. Well, that's the thing. I basically turn off all of the advanced options, pretty much. So like cloth simulation, dynamic shadows, and I do turn off depth of field as well. That's just a personal preference. Also turning off film grain and turn off motion blur. I do that just purely for my own personal preference. And then I reduced the battle size from 500 down to about 350, because I found that that was a pretty good spot to be in. I think now that the optimization of the game has become a lot better in recent versions, I could probably bump that up back to the default value of 500. But if you're having issues, just reduce some of those settings. Just disable some. Tessellation is also something that absorbs a lot of memory, so you probably want to disable that as well if you're having frame rate problems. But most of the time it's basically shadows that will cause a pretty big problem. I was actually kind of having a little bit of slowdown with the dynamic shadows enabled anyway, just me being on the world map, so it's probably something to look at if you're having some problems. But anyway, I'm just gonna break my legs. just gonna break my legs real quick as I jump down here, hurriedly trying to get over to the front door. Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? But yeah, if you're still here, if you're still listening to me, then I would highly appreciate your ideas and suggestions regarding a new series, because I will probably be creating a new series, more than likely going to be either going for extremely heavily modded on a previous game version, or we're going to go relatively unmodded with the one of the latest versions of the game. So it really just depends on what the majority of people would like to see, because at this point I actually have very little preference in that regard. Usually I prefer unmodded. Usually I prefer going with a lot of mods just because it adds a whole bunch of extra features to the game, and I think that that enriches the game quite a lot. But I have enjoyed my time with a very bare bones playthrough, because this is what we have right here. This is basically extremely bare bones. The only thing that is a little bit extraneous is obviously the Cal Radio at War mod. That's the only thing that really adds a huge amount to the game in the form of a number of extra clans and factions and so on and so forth. But everything else that I have, Feel the Hit, the XP gain watcher reports, and what else do I even have? I think that's basically it. I think I have the save game module fix as well, which is just a precaution that I tend to take with pretty much every single series, just in case. And I seem to be running some... What? What is even happening? Did you see that? I was running super weirdly and then I just killed myself. Ah, well. I don't really mind, as I obviously... as you can obviously tell, I am not taking things particularly seriously at the moment. But anyway, I guess I'll just take some Unity, even though it's not really going to make any difference. Maybe if I... Actually, you know what? Maybe the problem was me placing a bunch of new units in the garrison. Maybe that was the issue. Yeah, I'm actually going to try something here real fast. So, no doubt, the Empire is going to come at us. And they're going to want to take this back. But I'm going to just kind of stick around here. And we're going to see whether it crashes again. I'm going to just save the game real quick. Well, there's an autosave anyway, but I'm going to save manually as it is. And we're just going to see what happens. So let's have a look. So, is he going to try? No, he's not going to try. Okay. Well, I need to restore my HP anyway, and I would assume that the owner of Casino... Are you serious? What? Despite his council's opposition? I'm the only person in this faction, technically. I mean, apart from the various members of my clan, of course. But that is rather amusing, isn't it? Alright, so yeah, anyway. No doubt the Empire is going to start a siege relatively soon. I'm going to, of course, be attempting to recruit as many people as I can get my hands on. And yeah, there's actually something that I think I'll probably get in a future playthrough as well. You know the better looting mod? Well, you know how powerful it turned out to be. I actually had no idea how powerful it was going to turn out to be, but it was pretty powerful. I didn't really end up using it that much to give me such a huge advantage, because let's face it, just look at all of the resources I have in my inventory right here. I'm using the default version of the mod as well. I'm not using anything that is giving me any additional chances to gain these things. But there is actually a version of the mod that provides you with a lower chance to get high quality gear. So if you personally find it a little bit too much that I have 5 pieces of armor that are worth over 100,000, actually I have more than that, because there are a number of different copies of this. But if you find that a bit too much, then you can just download the lower chance version of the mod, and then then you're going to have a little bit more of a balanced time of things. But I hadn't even taken huge amounts of advantage of that anyway, so it's not really that big a deal, because obviously, as you can see right here, I just sold a bunch of the cheapest possible stuff, and we've already just gained 18,000. So it's very, very simple to gain money at this point in the game, obviously, because you're just able to beat vassals and take things relatively fast. Now, technically what I could do is I could move on to another fief and potentially try to take that if we wanted to continue the series, but the problem with that is that I will never be able to defend. And I personally really would like to, because I think defense is some of the most fun that you can have, and it is definitely something that has been missing from my series generally, because obviously the AI has had a huge disadvantage in regards to siege defense because their own programming has prevented them from going forward with these kinds of siege attacks. So I'm going to just wait here for a little bit and I'll see what happens. Ah, perfect test. Alright, so we have Regea's army with 912 members coming towards us, and yeah, we're going to see how it goes. So let's see, I have say... Aha! Right, it's working. It's working. I've done nothing. I didn't change anything. So I assume that it's working now, but I have no idea why that is. I guess that is because there was indeed a particular kind of unit in the yeah, in the what is it now? In the army. Yes, in one of the armies of the previous attacking force. Well, now I'm not even prepared, because I thought to myself, oh, it's just going to crash again, isn't it? Because nothing's really changed. How frustrating. Yes, that is super, super frustrating, because now things are not really working as intended. You know what? Can we request a parlay right here? Can I maybe say, hello, I would, our realms should make peace. How about that? Wait a minute. I want to give her money, of course. Oh, she'll accept a very small amount. Only 21... Only 21,000. Okay, yeah, sure. I'm fine with this. We've tested out, I mean, technically, I can't win this, you see. That's the thing. I was hopeful that they would come with about an army of 500 or 600 or something like that. I think I might be able to achieve victory there. But as it stands, this is probably not going to work out in our favor, unfortunately. So let's just go for a nice even number, 20k, and boom, there you go. We've now made peace with the Southern Empire. And this is actually kind of perfect, because that means that I will be able to build up my garrison, and I can indeed then attack other locations if I want to. So, for example, I could potentially attack the Aserai once I have built up my army, and, well, should we say armies, because I could potentially get this guy to come over and join me, which is exactly what I'm actually going to have him do. Unfortunately, I can't do that yet because he has less than 40% of his party size limit, but hopefully he will be able to do that relatively soon. So it seems like my worries were for basically nothing, which is very, very surprising indeed. I really thought that we were going to have to end the series, but apparently that is not the case. So I am not sure why that was. As I say, I think it is probably just one singular type of unit that has caused that crashing problem. And if you go into a battle with them or anything like that, then I suppose that happens? Question mark? I actually have no idea. But I am very pleased that we are now going to be able to continue the series. And, yeah. There you go. I guess that's pretty good then. I guess that's pretty good. All right. So otherwise, it could also be that I have placed some of those unique units from the Calradia War mod in a garrison, and maybe that was the problem as well. Maybe it just wasn't compatible with those kinds of units. So I'm pleased. Very, very happy about that. I was actually kind of frustrated that it had caused that problem, but thankfully it doesn't seem to be affecting us anymore, which is kind of strange, but I guess I'm happy nevertheless. All right, so I'm going to just be continuing to recruit people exactly like this. I will place as many of those recruits as I can in the garrison. As you can see, we have about 524 size to do there, which is absolutely insane. And I'm also going to be managing the town. We're going to be placing Alia back as the governor, and we're just going to be continuing to build our workshops. It's going to be done in 4 days, thankfully. Hopefully we'll be able to get an additional little boost from that as well. And we're going to be training militia up as fast as we possibly can. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode, but not for the series. We're going to be back in the next one, and we're going to see how we're doing. Unfortunately, most of my parties are going to continually be attacked by looters and everything, which is going to result in a lot of very big problems, because we're not going to be able to get any allies to help us whatsoever. But that's the challenge. Oh yeah, that's the challenge. I'm going to have to get some more food as well. Anyway, yes. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time.